I'm going to break down the scholarship email funnel that's generated our families over 4 million in scholarship offers so that you can do the same in your recruiting. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Trent Loera. I went from a nobody to getting over 20 scholarship offers for myself, and now I've helped over 100 families do the same. So if you're looking for a guaranteed system to get scholarships, then click the link in my description to learn more. Now let's get into it. Let's first talk about this funnel. What is it? So first off, you need to think about it like a sifting, like you're looking for gold, just like gold miners used to look for back in the day. And so our whole goal is to get to the gold, the scholarship offers. But first we need to get through all the dirt and the crap and whatnot. And so we're using this to get those scholarships using email. And so there's different pieces of this funnel that ultimately gets you those scholarships. And you need to take each one seriously to maximize the amount of chances that you get to ultimately get to this gold. And so the first piece that we're going to talk about is email deliverability. And so you may be asking yourself, okay, I know that first word email, but what do you mean by deliverability? Like, what exactly does that mean? So you probably have an email account and you have your inbox. Everybody knows what an inbox is. My question to you is, what happens if you don't land in the inbox? It goes to spam. How often do you check your spam folder? I know I don't check it that often. I know most people don't check it that often. I know college coaches hardly check their spam folder because they're already getting hundreds of email a day. So if you're not landing in their inbox, then you're not going to get their attention. You're going to get passed up. You're never going to get read. And so that's the biggest hidden factor that goes into getting email replies, getting scholarships from email. It's making sure that you land in that inbox. And so you may be asking now, okay, I know I need to avoid that, but how do I actually get in there? So there's a few things that you need to think about. And the two big ones I'll talk about today are email reputation, number one, your reputation score, and number two, custom domain. And so you need to understand that email providers like Gmail and Outlook, those are the two major ones, have email reputation scores for each email account. And so your account is probably blah, blah at gmail.com or blah, blah at outlook.com. This is a regular bland email account. It works for normal people because you're just messaging back and forth between personal things or you're just really receiving emails. This does not work for someone that is trying to send messages outbound. What's going to happen is if they see your email sending out a bunch of outbound messages, getting no replies back, they're going to flag your email as a spam email. And I'm not even talking, it doesn't even take that many. They can recognize it now just because of how intense the spam filters are, because they want to create a great experience for their users. They can flag it in just a couple emails. If they notice you sent, 20 to, 5 or 20 to 20 different people in the span of a couple minutes. And so the key there is you need to make sure that you're looking like a normal email account, that you blend in. You're kind of being like a spy. And that's really hard when you're going up against things that are automated AI to flag that kind of activity. So one of the things that you can do is create a custom domain, because that @gmail.com domain, the @outlook.com domain, they're not horrible. They're not going to absolutely trash your email reputation score, but the issue is that you blend in with everyone else, because the email reputation score, the biggest factor of it is that domain. And so you don't get 100%, you're not maximizing it. It usually averages out around 96, 97%, which isn't horrible. And you may be like, oh, that's only like a couple percent off. But that makes a drastic difference when it comes to getting your email into the inbox, because like if you have a 2% email rotation, which I've never seen, that's just, I don't even know how you can pull that off. Like you're sending out just messages every second at that point. But anything below 100% or 99%, you have to be wary that a good amount of your emails are probably not getting in there. And so really you need to make sure that you're creating a custom domain. So ideally like an TrentLoera.com domain, like ours is @yourfirstscholarship.com. And we make sure to protect that email reputation because it's a big factor to make sure that we land in your guys' inboxes, for example, the emails that I send. And we use a completely different software for that because for cold email, all this stuff, it's a lot different, but that is a little thing that you can do to improve it. Now, you can't just, this is again, a little side note, and this will probably be the last thing because I'm getting into the weeds here, but you can't just send an email from a custom domain right when you make it. So if you make it and you immediately start sending out emails right away, again, you're going to get flagged. You just made a fresh new email account, fresh new domain, and now you're sending outbound emails, not getting any replies. The email providers are immediately going to pick up on that. And so what you need to do is warm it up. You need to warm it up by sending out messages, getting replies back, having normal conversations, so that way the email providers immediately see that and say, oh, this person is just a normal person and they made an account, they're doing good things. Let's make sure that their emails go to people primary because they're probably important. And so that's the way that you want to go about it. So now that we've talked about email deliverability and you're getting your emails into the inboxes of college coaches, the next thing is we need to get that email opened. And so this is what I call email opens. And really I call the first one inbox deliverability, but who cares? So email opens, the big piece of this is subject line. Subject lines are going to get your emails open. And now, realistically, you should be shooting for anywhere between a 60 to 70% open rate. That's what we usually get. We've had some that crush 90% plus, some maybe a little bit lower, but it's a big piece of it because you need to get coaches to open the email before they can even reply to it. And so the key there is all in the subject line. Now, you don't want to have, I see subject lines that are way too long, have way too much information. You don't need your name in there because your name's already in there in the from kind of side of it. You don't need your school in there. What you want is the two things you must have: your graduation year, your position. After that, you could just have that and you'll probably still get a pretty good email open rate. But after that, you should have some kind of strength, whether it's your GPA, your 40 time, a stat, your height, weight is always a good one. All of that stuff you want to have so that it adds to your profile that they're kind of building out in their mind. And this is all psychology. Like, you want them to look at your subject line and be curious about who you are, what your film is, what you evaluate at. And that's the whole goal. And so you just want to create a very simple subject line that is enough to get them to go, oh, this is pretty interesting. Let's open it. So the next thing that we go to, let's say the coach opens the email, is a link click. Now you may be going, wait, don't they have to read the email? Don't you have to write the email itself? Yeah, exactly. But the ultimate goal of an email, of a message sent to a college coach, is not to get them to read the email, it's to get them to click on your video and evaluate you as a player. And so that is why the link click is such a big thing. And so we track click rates as well. Usually we get around 30 to 40% of those emails opened that get clicked on. Of course, again, can get higher, but that's generally our metrics on that. The two keys here are you want to keep the email very simple. See, I see too many people create this whole essay like they're selling themselves to college coaches. And I understand the mindset. I thought the same way back in the day. But the issue is it's just boring. It's bland. A coach is not going to read paragraphs of your stuff. They're probably not going to scroll through it. They're going to go, oh, no, I don't even want to. And they're going to go to the next person. Instead, keep it simple. You should have no more than 5 sentences in there. And then link your video at least once somewhere there. And just keep it a simple video and we'll talk about this in a bit, but preferably to your YouTube video link. So that way they can click on it, they can take a look, and they can evaluate later and then decide if they want to respond or not. Because that's the ultimate goal. Like, so many people think the goal of sending out messages is to get responses. Not necessarily. Like, it's all good and great if you get responses, but the ultimate goal is to get as many coaches as possible to watch your film and evaluate you, because you never force a coach to give you an offer. I wish there was a super secret hack to doing that. You can definitely do things to increase your chances of getting offers, increase your chances of getting interest, but ultimately until someone comes with the hold them at gunpoint method, just not going to happen. And so your goal is to make it easy for them to watch your video and evaluate you. And so that's the whole reason why we really put a big emphasis into these link clicks. And so just link your video, keep it simple. You should be able to get and maximize the amount of link clicks that you get, which should lead to the next piece, and these go hand in hand together, video views. So you may notice, if you track these numbers, and we'll talk about tracking a little bit later, that you may get link clicks, but you don't get video views. And so there's some kind of discrepancy, and it could be that maybe the tracking isn't set up correctly, but it could also be the fact that the platform that you're using isn't converting these link clicks into video views. And so this is the difference between YouTube and Huddle. So Huddle, HUDL, is the most common platform used to publish highlight reels, at least in the football world. I'm talking American football. The best platform is YouTube, because Huddle sometimes has ads if the person isn't logged in. It's kind of just a pain video-wise, and I wish they would fix it, because they're a great platform for making highlights, not great for viewing them. And so instead, what you should do is download your Huddle video and put it on YouTube. It's way better to watch. The tracking is way better as well. And so you actually see the amount of videos or coaches that are checking you out, because nobody's just randomly checking out your video on YouTube. As well as when they view that, the algorithm starts to recommend them more of your stuff. And we've seen that happen. And it's really, really cool because they get to see more of you, which is ultimately your whole goal. And so the biggest thing is YouTube can maximize this. You also get better tracking on it. You even get to see like view duration, all good numbers. I mean, we've had guys that, we have a sophomore that has well over 100 views on his highlights at this point. He's getting recruited by a bunch of Power 4 schools. And we even have a junior that has like, I think near 300 views at this point, probably over. He had 282 the last time I talked to him. And well, if 282 college coaches, and this was within the span of a month. So imagine if 282 coaches watch your video in the span of a month. You can imagine the kind of interest you have. He has a good amount of interest, excited to see how things play out. And then this finally leads us to, once the coach watches the video, if they like what they see, it leads us to the last step, which is interest. And now interest can vary. It can be a simple response, it can be a Twitter follow, whatever. But ultimately, this is kind of the end result. If they like your film in some capacity, they're going to give you some kind of interest. This may be an invite. Again, a Twitter followers is probably like the simplest level, or it can just be a simple reply. And so that is where we're at. And then ultimately that turns into scholarship offers. And I won't dive into this, but if you build relationships, if you use the follow-up framework, all of that stuff, and that will eventually turn it into a scholarship. And so that is pretty much the full scholarship email templates. Or not templates, but the funnel. And so that takes you, again, from email deliverability. Just to recap, email deliverability is making sure to reduce your chance of going to spam, make sure that you're showing up in the coach's inbox. Email open is that subject line, make sure they click on the email itself. Link click, making sure that they're going to your email. Video views, that they're actually watching the video itself. Interest, the replies, the follows that you get from these emails. And then ultimately turning that into scholarship offers by building relationships, proving that you're actually worth offering. And this may not happen right from the first email. It's going to take a little bit of time. My first offer probably took a overall process of about 4 or 5 months from first conversation to actually receiving the offer. And I'd probably say that that's pretty on point for most people. So don't expect it to come within the first couple of weeks, because that's usually unrealistic unless you're a senior right now in December. That may happen. And so with that, a couple other notes is you need to understand metric tracking in terms of, I mentioned a couple things as far as open rates with this email opens, click rates. You can even track inbox deliverability to an extent, views, all those metrics you want to keep tabs on. Because the thing is, people say like, oh, I haven't gotten any replies, but it's like, if you're not tracking your open rate, your click rate, then you don't know if it's a reply issue, like your film sucks, or is it just that the coaches aren't even seeing the emails? And so you need to track that stuff so you can improve it. What doesn't get tracked doesn't get improved. Just like if you don't track your bench press number, like it's not gonna improve. You don't even know what you're doing. Same with your 4 times, so on and so forth. And so you need to track this stuff to make sure that you can actually improve it. Also data, like, in regards to data, like you need a good amount of data to actually be able to make decisions on this. What I see too many families do is they say, I've sent out 50, 100 emails and we haven't gotten any responses, so something must be broken. That's just not necessarily true. We've sent out, over this past year of 2024, we've sent out over 138,000 emails to college coaches. That is a good amount of data to go, hey, this is what works, this is what didn't work. We can make valid decisions based on that. I would say roughly you need to wait probably 300 or 400 emails to be able to make any kind of decision on what's working, what's not working. Because for example, we just got a reply from Notre Dame for one of our recruits. We got a reply from Virginia Tech and William Mary for another. And the Virginia Tech and the William Mary came from around the 300th, close to 400th email. And so the email is definitely not broken. It was just a matter of time thing. And this leads me to my second point, because both of those responses came from the third follow-up. So something that I don't include here, because it's just kind of a piece of it, is you need to be following up with these coaches. One email is not enough. Most of your responses are going to come from your third or fourth message to these coaches. You can always go more. We've had some people take about 6 responses to get a response from a coach, and that eventually turned into an offer, funny enough. But you need to at least give it 3 emails, bare minimum, if you want to actually get like actual responses and actual results from this. You can't just send one and then get frustrated that they didn't respond back, because that's just like just not considering how busy their schedules are, how busy their inboxes are. You have to give yourself maximize the amount of opportunities you get to actually get a response, get eyes on your stuff. And so with that, that's pretty much the entire funnel, the entire system that we've used. Again, if you have any questions, comment them down below. I'd love to hear them. As well as if you got something from this, be sure to like and subscribe. And like I mentioned, if you're looking for someone, we handle this all for our families, because it's just a lot of work. I mean, just to develop the system took me 6+ years. You're getting 6+ years worth of knowledge in this. So you can definitely replicate this and do it yourself. It's just, that's a lot of emails to send. Even if you're doing some more complicated stuff like we're doing, you're able to track all this stuff, everything like that. It's just a lot of time to manage on your own, and you got to learn all of that. And you can definitely do it yourself. Not saying it's impossible, but if you're looking for a done-for-you system, we do it all for you guys, as well as we guarantee our results, because we have a really good track record, getting $4 million in scholarships in just the past 1.5 years. So if you're looking for us to take care of it, feel free to book a call with our team. We'll kind of walk you through what we do, see if it makes sense, even give you some value regardless of whether you work with us or not. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Again, if you got something from this, feel free to let me know. Feel free to like, feel free to subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace.